So let's take a look. So what does that mean to us, right? I'm going to put it all into a graph for you here. So let's look at the left side here. This line coming up is what we call the benefits of vitamin mineral benefits and activity, because we want 100% activity, obviously. And if you take 100% activity, that brings you over to the RDA. So when you're getting this concentration of vitamin minerals, which is the bottom line, you see it coming to here, that's where we want to be right there. We got a huge range we can get in here to stay in the safe optimal range. In fact, some things we do want more than the RDA, like vitamin C, vitamin D, make a strong case for more than the RDA, but we're still not there. So if you transpose what we just looked at here, you transpose this into this here, take all the shortages, we end up here. Typical US daily intake right here is today. And that's including fortified foods, right? What people eat that aren't supplementing. Obviously, and this shows you the slope, shows you where we end. So we end up in this insufficient range. So what does insufficiency mean? Well, the end of the day is this. Look at the top. No one knows if they're near a deficiency. You wouldn't know that, right? And most are in, as we just looked at, or have been in an insufficiency. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that's an undetectable starting point with an insidious progression. So that lack of calcium, right, that you had when you were 10 or 11, and you're doing all this. And by the way, you should know this, that kids that didn't drink milk when they grew up fracture 7 times more than kids that did. And I'm not saying it's the milk. It's obviously the calcium in the milk and the vitamin D that's fortified in the milk. They fracture. Of course, they end up stop playing ball. They end up not being active because they were constantly hurt. So again, that's why I say one good turn deserves another. So it's an undetectable starting point when that calcium and the bone health was going backwards. You don't know where that starts, but it's an insidious progression that physically manifests later on in life as a sickness, or like osteoporosis or osteopenia. And the same thing with cardiovascular structure. If you don't have all the vitamin K, vitamin D, and all the other vitamins that put our cardiovascular system together when you're young, when you're old, it breaks down early. So these are all the things. That's an insidious progression. And again, if we all died at 25, I wouldn't even be having this conversation. All right. So again, that's what that means. So if we know this, now here's where I want you to see. If we know this, and we know where we want to go, and we know this keeps us here, then that gives you your formula. The known underconsumed vitamin and minerals are the RDA range gaps, as we talked about. Therefore, the RDA range minus food vitamin minerals equal your vitamin mineral supplement to the safe optimal nutrient range. And that range is right here between the RDA and the no observed adverse effect level. So we see nothing here. In fact, there may be some benefits inside here above the RDA for things, but never go above the UL. So no matter what you're taking, you don't want to get to what we call the upper limit, where chronic intake, like daily intake for years, could cause adverse events. That's where it first starts there. So we want to be here, always with all of them. Now we got construction happening. And guess what? You build the perfect one, and you have no gaps.